My mom announced I was gifting my sister my car during her wedding. Then a stranger stood up. Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and 5 minutes into my sister's wedding my mother tried to donate my car like it was a centerpiece she could push across the table. Everyone, she chirps into the mic. Surprise! Jake is giving Ava his luxury car as a wedding gift. The ballroom does that awful nervous clap sound, palms tapping air because no one knows the rules yet. I swing to me, then to the key fob beside my water glass like it's a gun in Act 1. I don't move. I'm a therapist, stillness is a tool. Inside, my pulse is doing burpees. Then a stranger in a slate suit stands calm as a courtroom. Try to touch his assets again, she says to my mother, voice like a paper cut. You'll lose yours. Fork drops. DJ's hand slides off the fader. My mom's smile fogs, then freezes. I should tell you who we are since we just met. I'm the oldest, the stable one. A professional listener who pays rent on time and keeps snacks in labeled jars. I drive a midnight blue coupe I bought used and loved into looking new. My sister, Ava 28, gifted in the art of yes please thinks, no, is a language other people made up to hurt her feelings. My father floats above conflict like a party balloon, drifting down only when the bill arrives. My mother treats my life like a group project where she's the executive producer. I wasn't supposed to have a speaking role today. I had a toast card in my pocket. May you choose each other on ordinary days. Cute, compact, harmless. Then Mom rewrote the script live. What you need to know is this didn't start in a ballroom. It started in whispers that sounded like favors. Grad school, I brewed coffee by night and counseled teens by day, counting coins like reps at the gym. When Ava had a tuition glitch, I wired the balance. Temporary. Then it was just until I get a job. Then security deposit. Then interview dress because appearances matter. I kept handing over bandages and calling it care. When I finally bought the car, it wasn't about leather and horsepower. It was about a boundary I could put in the driveway. I watched it on Sundays like a ritual. Title, my name. Insurance, my name. Pride, my name. Group chat didn't care. A quick favor? Ava typed once. Friend needs rides to rehearsal. No, I said. Insurance. Mom replied with 3 rolling eye emojis like she was 13. Dad added a thumbs up, unclear for whom. It escalated. A certified letter arrived one afternoon, policy change adding Ava as a primary driver. My signature looked perfect, which was fascinating because I hadn't signed it. The agent on the phone said, "Your mother authorized it." I heard a click in my jaw I usually reserve for dental chairs. I had them void it and added a note to my file, owner in person only. Then I started saving everything, screenshots, voicemails, the digital breadcrumbs people leave when they assume you won't check the oven. 2 weeks ago, the wedding invoices started breeding like rabbits. Could you cover the deposit? Mom texted. We already told them you would. I wrote back one elegant syllable. No. She called immediately to audition the word cruel. That brings us to tonight. Roses and buttercream in the air. Ava glowing like a sponsored sunrise. I park far from the valet, nose out, behind a pillar like the car can hold its breath. I put the key fob beside my glass because I'm not hiding, I'm just not volunteering for organ donation. Mom taps the mic and tosses my property into the confetti cannon. Applause like sandpaper. Ava's eyes sparkle hope mixed with greed, a familiar cocktail. I feel the room swivel toward me humming, so what's he going to do? The stranger's warning slices the tension, clean and precise. My mother blinks at a world where consequences exist. The therapist in me observes, this is the second when families decide who you're allowed to be in public. Whoever speaks next writes the myth. Mom tries first. He was going to surprise her, she says, bright and brittle. He's just shy. I count 3 breaths, the kind I teach anxious teenagers. I'm shy, sure. I'm not an ATM. I stand no rush, no flinch, and the silk of conversation snags. Calm can be a weapon if you shoulder it right. I walk to the mic, give the DJ a small nod to lower the music, and look at my sister, my mother, the keys, the cake. Congratulations, Ava. Hi, Leo. I say, voice steady like I'm leading group on a Tuesday. Quick correction, I'm not gifting my car. Ava's face falls like a curtain. Mom's smile thins to a knife. Dad studies his water like there's advice at the bottom. That car is mine. I continue, gentle but anchored. Paid for by me, titled to me, insured by me. It's not a dowry. It's not community property. It doesn't come with the bar package. A cousin coughs. Someone near the bar murmurs, "Yikes," into a napkin. The stranger in slate tilts her head, approving. Mom steps toward the mic, reflex in pearls. I shift one foot and say, not loud, just final. No. She freezes, offended, surprised, maybe both. Don't make this a thing. She says. You made it a thing. I answer. When you promise something you don't own. Ava tries the soft blade. It's just a car. She says. You have money. And there it is, the family thesis. My yes is a public utility. I don't go nuclear. Not yet. I just let the room feel the click of a lock they didn't know existed. I hand the mic back to the DJ, not to Mom, because symbolism is medicine. I shake Leo's hand like none of this is his fault. I walk past my table without grabbing my keys because leaving isn't power tonight. Staying is. Phones begin to glow, group chats blooming like algae. I slide mine to airplane mode and sip water that tastes like relief. Across the room, the stranger meets my eyes and holds them for a second that says, good. Finally. That's how it starts. One sentence, one syllable, one boundary with a pulse. Tonight, the gift isn't a car. It's a new job description. Not family wallet. Not default volunteer. I am, from this moment on, the man who says no and keeps standing there afterward. I stayed at the wedding. People think boundaries mean walking out, storming off, flipping tables. Sometimes they do. But sometimes the most radical thing you can do is stay seated while your family stares at you like you've grown teeth. I danced with my cousin's kids. I clapped when the band covered Hall and Oates. I toasted with water. I watched Ava slice her cake, white frosting with edible gold, as if nothing had just happened. Mom kept glancing at me like she couldn't tell if I was going to explode or evaporate. I did neither. I just existed, untouched, unbothered, unhooked. The DJ read my revised toast during dinner. I'd handed him the card before I sat down. To Ava and Leo, he said, voice smooth over the sound system. May you choose each other on the ordinary days. It landed better than I expected. Some people even clapped. Later, as I poured coffee near the dessert table, the woman in the slate suit found me again. Up close, she had the calm presence of someone who'd watched too many people try too many stupid things in court. Sharp but not unkind. I'm Renee, she said. Friend of the groom's mom. Estate attorney. Brandon, I replied out of habit. Then corrected. Jake. Sorry, long day. She smiled like she got it. You handled that well. Most people don't do well under coordinated ambush. Thank you, I said. My mother won't think so. She rarely does. Renee replied, already reading between decades. She handed me a card. The bold print read, Assets are boundaries with paperwork. If you need help with things like forged signatures, title claims, or creative family accountants, she said, I'm good at those. I tucked it into my pocket without comment, but it felt like tucking a life jacket into my coat. When I finally left the venue, I walked across the parking lot alone. My car was still in the far corner, hidden behind a concrete pillar like a kid waiting to see if it was in trouble. There was a thin white ribbon tied to the driver's side mirror. Some kind of passive-aggressive bow, probably Ava's last-ditch claim to the fantasy. I untied it gently, set it on the passenger seat like it deserved dignity, then got in and locked the doors. I drove home slow, the way you do when your body's been buzzing with adrenaline for 4 hours and finally gives you back your limbs. The next morning came with sunlight and a migraine. My phone had 27 missed calls from Mom, 11 from Dad, and 6 from numbers I didn't recognize, probably relatives trying to do recon without declaring sides. The voicemail transcripts were a masterclass in family manipulation. Guilt. Minimization. Threats. Revision. You humiliated her. This got blown out of proportion. We'll see you in court about the car title. If you love your sister, you'll fix this. And my personal favorite. We never said you'd give her the car. It was symbolic. I sipped my coffee, opened my laptop, and created a new folder, post-wedding. Dragged in screenshots, messages, the letter from the insurance company, even a photo of the ribbon on my passenger seat. Just in case. I wasn't planning to go to war. But I'd learned it's smart to dress for it anyway. I sent 2 emails before 10 a.m. The first, to my insurance agent, confirm all policy locks remain. No verbal authorizations. Owner in person only. The reply came back within the hour, confirmed. Additional security flags added. Thank you for your diligence. The second, to my bank, lock accounts from external transfers. Require voice print and in-branch verification for all new payees. They called to verify. I went in that afternoon, sat with a tired teller, and made it impossible for anyone to open a ghost account with my name on it. He looked up after setting the flags. Honestly? I wish more people did this before their parents tried something shady. I nodded. Me too. At noon, Dad showed up at my door. Didn't text. Just knocked. He tried the old key, but it didn't work anymore. He knocked again, gentler this time. Like a neighbor. I opened the door but didn't step aside. He did the sigh he uses when there's going to be talk about money. Son, he said, drawing it out like that word had weight. Last night was a lot. I didn't say anything. He shifted, glanced at the wall behind me like it might help him finish. Your mother was out of line, he finally said. Then added, but you didn't have to say no. I blinked at him, letting the silence do the work. She made a promise with my property, I said. I corrected it. He rubbed his face, the way he does when he doesn't want to argue but also doesn't want to agree. Ava's devastated. She's an adult, I said. She can be devastated without a new car. He didn't like that. There's always been a gap between what you can do and what you're willing to do, he said, like he'd been rehearsing it in the car. I nodded. Yep. And that's my line. And it's staying put. He tried one more swing. Could you at least help with one invoice? I shook my head. No. His face dropped into disappointment, real or staged. We're family. Exactly, I said, and closed the door. I stood there afterward, breathing. It wasn't peace. Not yet. But it was the first moment of quiet that belonged to me. 3 hours after I closed the door on my dad, my mom tried her version of damage control by waging a campaign. Not with flowers or apologies. With scheduling. At 5:14 p.m., she texted me. We're having a family meeting Sunday. 2 p.m. Be there. No greeting. No request. Just command. I replied. I don't attend meetings where the decisions are pre-written. 3 dots appeared. Then a photo of a yellow legal pad. The top was labeled Agenda. Car misunderstanding. Boundaries underlined 3 times. Repair and restructure family unity. I laughed. Alone. In my kitchen. Like someone had sent me a parody of my own life. It didn't feel bitter. It felt like something small had unlatched in my chest. Sunday came and I didn't show. Instead, I drove the coast highway with the windows cracked and a podcast about cult deprogramming playing in the background. Fitting in a poetic kind of way. At a red light, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We're watching your plates. I read it twice. Took a screenshot. Forwarded it to Renee with the subject line. Is this extortion or just sad? She replied instantly. It's stupid. Document everything. Come in Tuesday. That night, Aunt Mara posted a blurry photo on Facebook, me, cropped at the edge of the wedding group shot, captioned. Some people forget who paid for their education. Family friends chimed in with vague sympathy. That's so hard. Stay strong. Preach. Like she was a grief counselor, not an instigator. I typed a comment. Deleted it. Typed another. Deleted that too. Did nothing. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. Tuesday morning, I walked into Renee's office with a manila folder labeled WTF/legal. She flipped through screenshots, letters, email headers, and muttered, Jesus, under her breath once or twice. You've been the family wallet, she said. And they confused access with entitlement. She drafted a cease and desist letter on the spot. Beautiful language. Polite, surgical, and cold enough to refrigerate produce. It covered unauthorized insurance changes, forged signatures, harassment, defamation, attempted title fraud. I added one name to the recipient list, the wedding planner. Her assistant was the one who tried to grab my keys for a surprise getaway, shot without asking. Within an hour, the planner replied. We were following instructions from your mother. We're so sorry. Renee sent a second letter. They refunded the entire wedding day handling fee. It was petty. And perfect. Meanwhile, my life got weirdly quiet. My receptionist stopped getting lunchtime calls from my mom pretending to be my business manager. My building's doorman learned 3 new faces to block and a rule. No deliveries from anyone claiming to be family. My email began filtering out messages with subject lines like, "Be reasonable, family is forever," and "How could you?" I didn't even create the filter. Somehow it just appeared. I left it. Then something surprising happened. 2 cousins messaged me privately. One wrote, "I saw what happened. When I turned 18, my mom tried to open a credit card in my name. I said no. She still brings it up at Thanksgiving." The second one, "Teach me how to boundary like that." I wrote back, "Start small. Repeat yourself. Don't explain past the point you'd want quoted at a family reunion." He replied with a laughing emoji and, "Okay, therapist." I typed, "Yes," and then deleted it. Sent a thumbs up. A week after the wedding, Ava posted a photo on Instagram. Black and white, soft filter, her in her gown mid-laugh. Captioned, "Letting go of toxic negativity and choosing joy." A friend commented, "Your brother is so toxic. You're an angel for handling it so gracefully." Ava liked it. I stared at it, felt the familiar ache flutter up like an old song you didn't realize was still on the playlist. Then I put the phone down and made lentil soup. Not everything requires a response. 2 weeks after the wedding, my mom called my office pretending to be a patient's emergency contact and tried to book a family therapy session. "With Jake," she whispered. "Wednesday at 4:30. My receptionist, bless her, has learned the terrain. He doesn't treat family," she said. "This is different." My mom insisted. "It isn't." Later, we laughed about it, the gentle kind of laugh that knows how sad something is and does it anyway. By the 3rd week, Renee's letter had landed. Hard. My insurance agent emailed. "File flagged. No changes allowed without in-person ID." The DMV clerk added a note. "Title modifications must be signed in front of a notary with matching photo ID. No exceptions." Renee CC'd me with the subject line, "Gates closed." And for the first time in, I don't know, maybe ever, I didn't wake up rehearsing arguments I might need. I didn't brace when I opened my email. I didn't check my phone before bed like I was waiting for an emergency coded in guilt. I started sleeping like a person who owns their own nervous system. I didn't expect the grief. The space was real now, silent, thick, shaped like Sunday dinners I no longer attended. I'd made the choice, but the absence still echoed. Dad's messages went from guilt-laced to dry. "Hope you're well." Then nothing. Mom switched to performance mode. Her new post showed carefully lit fruit bowls, selfies with cryptic captions like, "Family means sacrifice." One comment, "Preach, Queen." I muted her. In the quiet, I noticed what returned, my focus. My clients felt sharper to me, closer. A teen girl who skipped her mother's weekly call without explaining. A man refusing to co-sign his brother's 3rd lease. The woman who told her aunt, "No hugs," at a barbecue, and didn't flinch when the aunt laughed. I told each of them, "I'm proud." I meant it differently now. It wasn't a therapist's platitude. It was solidarity. One evening, I parked and saw a child's handprint smeared on my car window. Probably a neighbor kid. But it didn't trigger the usual protectiveness. I just wiped it with my sleeve. I realized something had shifted. I wasn't guarding the car anymore like it was proof. I was simply driving it. Living in it. The coupe was mine still. But it didn't have to be a boundary. Because now I was the boundary. Renee's card stayed in my wallet, untouched. Knowing it was there was enough. A month after the wedding, Leo, my now brother-in-law, texted to meet for coffee. Neutral spot. Safe distance from my mother. I agreed, out of curiosity more than anything. He arrived early, hands in pockets, shoulders tight like he'd been rehearsing. "Thanks," he said. "For what?" "For drawing a line," he replied. "I didn't know how to say no to your mom." I nodded. "She's practiced." He laughed, short and embarrassed. "Ava's learning. Slowly." He didn't ask for money. Or the car. Just books. On boundaries. I gave him 3 titles and told him to get a therapist. "Not me." He grinned. "Definitely not you." 2 nights later, Ava sent a text. No emojis. No manipulation. Just, "I'm mad." My instinct was to take. "I'm working on it. I won't ask about the car again." I typed back, "Thank you. I want you happy." No lecture. No point proving. People don't change like movie montages. They shift like old doors, sticking before they swing open. Mom and I still weren't speaking. She emailed, subject line: respect. Body. You've forgotten what family is for. I didn't reply. Just archived it. Maintenance, not cruelty. Boundaries are quieter than people expect. I still hear her voice sometimes. That night in the ballroom, Jake is giving Ava his luxury car. And Renee's response: touch his assets again, and you'll lose yours. One line. One truth. That wasn't just about keys. It was about me. My assets were never just the car or money. They were my time. My sleep. My attention. My peace. My yes, which I'd been handing out like coupons no one paid for. I used to think love meant giving without pause. But that wasn't generosity. That was survival dressed in loyalty. Mom tried one last trick. She called my receptionist again. Whispered she needed to schedule an emergency family session. Said she didn't mind paying. He has Wednesday at 4:30. She added, like this was a dentist. My receptionist, professional saint, said flatly, Jake doesn't treat family. Then blocked her number for a month. We laughed about it over lunch. That kind of low, exhausted laugh therapists give each other when boundaries get mistaken for betrayal. Then it stopped. The letter Renee sent must have hit harder than expected. My insurance flagged everything. DMV locked my title behind a desk and a notary. The group chat shriveled. The emails slowed. No more dramatic texts. No unknown calls. Even Aunt Mara gave up her Facebook monologues. I started sleeping with both ears off. Deep sleep. The kind where you wake up rested, not braced. I replaced the crooked office lamp. Straight shade, clean lines. I thought I'd missed the old one's charm. I didn't. The quiet wasn't eerie. It felt earned. Like something I'd paid for in emotional currency. And now, finally, owned outright. 3 weeks after the wedding, I ran into Ava at the grocery store. No cameras, no mom, no audience. Just frozen peas and awkward eye contact. She looked tired, like someone who'd been fighting a silent war with herself. I meant what I texted, she said, voice low. I'm trying. It's hard not to take when you're raised thinking everything is shared. It's not about the car, I told her. It never was. She nodded. I know that now. We stood in front of the yogurt case like two coworkers on a smoke break from the same dysfunction. Then she asked, Do you think I'm a bad person? No, I said. I think you were given the wrong script. And you performed it perfectly. She laughed, short and sad. Mom still says you ruined the wedding. I didn't ruin it, I said. I just didn't fund it. We didn't hug. We didn't promise anything. Just coexisted in that aisle like people learning how not to reenact the past. That night, I drove home slower than usual. At a red light, I glanced at the passenger seat. The ribbon from the wedding was still in the glove box, white, crumpled, harmless. I left it there. Not because it meant something, but because it reminded me what I'd kept. Not the car. Not control. Just a life I wasn't always apologizing for. A week later, Ava posted a photo of her and Leo eating pizza in sweatpants. Caption: The best days aren't the planned ones. No digs. No shade. Just ordinary. And for once, that felt like progress. The next Sunday, I did something simple, nothing. No calls. No guilt text replies. No anxiety pretending to be duty. I brewed coffee, watered my plants, and sat in silence that didn't ache. I used to think saying no meant doors would slam forever. But some stayed open, just quieter. Better lit. Ava texted later that night. Leo made me read one of the books. I underlined half of it. Hate how much of it applies to me. I replied. Growth always feels personal. Because it is. She sent back a single word. Thanks. Not for money. Or rides. Just thanks. Mom still hadn't apologized. Probably never would. Her latest move was a group photo with my cousins captioned, True family always shows up. I muted her again. It wasn't anger. It was peace maintenance. Dad sent a message too. I don't know how we got here. I hope you're okay. I didn't answer. Not because I was punishing him. Because I didn't need to fix what I didn't break. Some boundaries rebuild relationships. Some just hold the roof up long enough for you to get out of the house. The car still lives in my garage, washed once a week, ribbon folded small in the glove box. But it doesn't mean what it used to. It's not a prize. Or a protest. It's a place I sit, breathe, go forward. That's the thing about owning your life, you drive it. You don't lend the keys out to people who don't ask. Or worse, assume. If you're the stable one. Let this be the proof: boundaries aren't cold. They're care, with a spine. They're how you say I matter too and mean it. And when someone tries to rewrite your yes into a donation slip, you say no. Calmly. Once. And that's enough.